Probing the Core of Nervousness. Lecture by Paramahansa Yogananda, June 15, 1947. Everyone has at times been nervous, more or less, without knowing why. I may shake this piece of cloth and say it is nervous, but what is making the cloth move? When I cease moving my hand, the cloth lies limp. You always blame other things for making you nervous, but never accuse yourself. Yet it is you who make yourself nervous. 99% is your own fault. Restlessness, emotional excitement, concentrates too much energy in the nerves so that they begin to wear out. After years and years, the adverse effects of that nervousness begin to show. The nerves are very tough. God made them so, because they have to last a lifetime, but it is necessary to give them proper care. When you stop overloading the nervous system, as when you are in deep sleep or a state of calmness in meditation, you are not nervous at all. In meditative ecstasy, the nerves become highly rested and rejuvenated. Healthy nerves essential for a healthy body. Nerves are like wires connecting all parts of a factory. If the wires become worn or burned out, then the whole factory or certain affected areas of it cannot function. Similarly, the nervous system enlivens all parts of the body, including the perceptive, cognitive, and responsive functions of the five senses. If the nerves are destroyed, then transaction with the world is also destroyed. There are two systems of nerves: the central nervous system in the brain, medulla, and spinal cord, and out of that the peripheral system, which connects the nerve centers to the different organs of the body and carries energy to them. The nervous system sends sensations to the brain, enables the brain to process them, and then reacts upon the brain's interpretation of those stimuli. During the primitive growth of the embryonic brain, the first formative stage of the nerves is like liquid, which then gradually becomes fibers that eventually grow into nerves, tough superhighways for conducting energy from the brain to all parts of the body. The brain is the house of government. The 27,000 billion cells are the subjects. The nervous system that connects them all must be kept in proper working order. You may recall the paralyzing effect of the recent telephone strike. That is what can happen in your body. When the nerve telephones are paralyzed, they cannot convey their vital messages. For example, if the optical center in the brain is impaired, owing to wrong eating, disease, or strain, the nerves of the eyes are affected, and the eyes begin to grow weak. Examine yourself to see what makes you nervous. Most nervous diseases are due to overexcitation of the mind. These arise from many causes. Examine yourself to see if you are nervous, and then determine what it is that makes you nervous. When you get mad, for instance, you send tremendous volts of energy into the brain and the heart. Emotions such as anger and fear can so overload the nerves that they cause the body to malfunction, sometimes even stopping the heart and causing death. If you pass 1,000,000 volts of current through a small wire that can stand only a few volts, the wire will be burned out. Excitement means you are directing too much energy to a certain area and depriving other nerves of that life force. The man of calmness, on the contrary, keeps his nerves well fed with a balanced flow of energy so that no part of the body is detrimentally overloaded or depleted. Nervousness is the disease of civilization. I remember when some of us were driving up Pikes Peak in Colorado. Other cars were speeding past us on the steep, winding grade. I thought they were hurrying to get to the mountaintop in time to see the sunrise. To my great amazement, when we arrived, we were the only ones outside to enjoy the view. All the others were in the restaurant drinking coffee and eating donuts. Imagine! They rushed to the top and then rushed back, just for the thrill of being able to say when they got home that they had been there, and had coffee and donuts on Pikes Peak. That is what nervousness does. We should take time to enjoy things, the beauties of God's creation, the many blessings of life, but avoid undue excitement, restlessness, and sudden emotions, which burn up the nervous system. Talking too much, including the habit of engaging in long conversations on the telephone, creates nervousness. Habitual twitching, such as drumming the fingers or moving the toes, burns energy in the nerves. Another cause of nervousness, though you may not be aware of it, is the noise of the radio or television going on for hours at a time. All sounds cause the nerves to react. A study conducted in the police department in Chicago showed that if human beings were not subjected to the bombardment of the sounds of modern living, which are especially harsh in cities, they could live years longer. Learn to enjoy silence. Don't listen to the radio or television for hours on end, or have them blaring mindlessly in the background all the time. There is enough television of saints and music of the spheres going on throughout the cosmos that you don't need to listen to canned music or watch canned pictures. Through the calmness of inner silence, learn to tune into God's wondrous cosmic programs. Learn to control your emotions. Another major cause of nervousness is unkind speech. Never gossip or talk against others. Be busy reforming yourself. Practice kind speech. Don't be quarrelsome. If your husband or wife gets angry and rouses your ire, take a little walk and cool off before responding. If he or she speaks sharply, don't retort in the same way. It is better to remain quiet until the temper has cooled down. Avoid being stubborn or patronizing, but at the same time, refrain from involving yourself in a quarrel. Wait until you both have regained calm reason. Never let anyone rob you of your peace, and do not steal away the peace of others by your verbal misbehavior. The misuse of speech is one of the most injurious of all weapons. You may say something in anger or high emotion that you do not really mean, and then feel sorry afterward, but for 20 years or longer the other person remembers it. In this respect, memory is a bad thing. The power to remember is a blessing if used in the right way, but harmful if used as a repository of the bad things that have been done to us. If your wife screeches at you and you shout back, you will suffer twice as much, once from her harsh words and again from your own. You primarily harm yourself. By the time you get through, you will feel that there is nothing left of you. This is why there are so many divorces. Frankly, people should not marry until they have learned to have some control of their emotions. The schools should educate young students in this art, and in how to develop calmness and concentration. The American home is breaking up because these things are not taught, neither at home nor in the schools. How can two people who are habituated to nervous activity live together without almost destroying each other with their nervousness? In the beginning of a marriage, the bride and groom are carried along on the emotions of excitement and passion. But after a while, when these inevitably start to wane, the true natures of the couple begin to come out and the quarreling and disillusionments set in. The heart requires true love, friendship, and, above all, peace. When through emotion peace is destroyed, it is a desecration of the bodily temple. A healthy nervous system is what will maintain in proper order all the bodily organs and feelings. And to keep the nervous system healthy, it is important to remain free from devastating emotions such as fear, anger, greed, jealousy. Cast off fear. What is there to be afraid of? Even a little bit of fear, such as senseless apprehension of the dark or worrying about things that might happen, affects the nerves more than you can imagine. Why dread even death? God allows it to happen to everybody, so it cannot be bad. That is a very consoling thought to hold on to. Death is just like a refreshing sleep, and you are not afraid of sleep, are you? Death is complete rest. God gives you death to release you from all of your troubles here, and then to provide you with a fresh start in a new incarnation. To be caught up in emotion is to forget God. To be caught up in fear, anger, greed, or any violent or impulsive emotion is to forget God. If your senses, which govern your emotions, are under your control, you are a saint. No one knows better than yourself whether you are a master of your senses or a slave to them. Remember, anything that overrules your self-control leads your nervous system to destruction. The greedy man eats, and the man of self-control eats. One eats for the well-being of his body, and the other overeats for sensual gratification. If one's love is concentrated more on God and less on the senses, then all sensory abuse will be overcome. When tempted, pray to the Lord, make thyself more tempting than temptation. No matter how you test me, Lord, I shall cling to you. When your nervous system is filled with peaceful, loving thoughts of God, your nerves become recharged with His power. Krishna said, when the feeling chit is absolutely subjugated and is calmly established in the self, the soul, the yogi, thus devoid of attachment to all desires, is spoken of as the God united. Movie stars and other professional entertainers are considered the beautiful people of America. But why are their personal lives so often in a shambles of unhappiness and multiple divorces? Most of them live too much on nervous energy concentrated in the senses. Overeating, promiscuous sex, the intoxication of wine and drugs, all produce a pseudo-happiness. In God alone one finds fulfillment of all desires. In God alone one finds ever new joy, which can never be attained through the instrumentality of any of the senses. If you are in the grip of any abuse of the senses, and this means any one of them, continuously affirm your freedom. I am not enslaved by this habit, my love for God is supreme, greater than for anything else. Attunement with God, greatest cure for nervousness. Remember that the greatest healing of nervousness takes place when we attune our lives to God. The highest commandments given to man are to love God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength, and secondly, to love your neighbor as yourself. If you follow these, everything will come in its own way, and in the right way. It is not enough just to be a strict moralist. Stones and goats do not break moral laws, still, they do not know God. But when you love God deeply enough, even if you are the greatest of sinners, you will be transformed and redeemed. The great Saint Mirabai said, to find the Divine One, the only indispensable is love. That truth touched me deeply. All the prophets observed these two foremost commandments. Loving God with all your heart means to love Him with the love that you feel for the person who is dearest to you, with the love of the mother or father for the child, or the lover for the beloved. Give that kind of unconditional love to God. Loving God with all your soul means you can truly love Him when through deep meditation you know yourself as a soul, a child of God, made in His image. Loving God with all your mind means that when you are praying, your whole attention is on Him, not distracted by restless thoughts. In meditation, think only of God, don't let the mind wander to everything else but God. That is why yoga is important, it enables you to concentrate. When by yoga you withdraw the restless life force from the sense nerves and become interiorized in the thought of God, then you are loving Him with all of your strength, the whole of your being is concentrated in Him. Live like a God, and you will attract godly friends. Lastly, learn to love your neighbor as yourself. Remember, you are here on earth in this lifetime for just a little while. You have come here before in numerous incarnations, interacting with many different souls. Who are your real relatives? To the wise man, everyone is his relative, everyone is his neighbor. Of course, the wise man discriminates, knowing that though the sun shines equally on the diamond and the charcoal, it is the diamond that beautifully reflects the sunlight. One should seek and associate with the highest diamond-like mentalities. Take time to find true friends. Good souls attract good souls. Live like gods, and you will attract godly friends. Live like animals on the sensual plane, and you will attract animalistic companions. Do not mix closely with those who lower your ideals and create materialistic nervousness in you, but at the same time do not exclude anyone from your love. In addition, be not only a giver of love, but also a peacemaker, that wherever you go you bring harmony, calmness, and upliftment. No one wants to be around a skunk, everyone avoids it. The nervous man, he who is always restless, irritable, emotional, similarly repulses others. We do not want to be human skunks. We want to be like the rose, which even if crushed exudes its sweet fragrance. Be a human rose, spreading the essence of peace wherever you go. Excerpts from the book Journey to Self-Realization by Paramahansa Yogananda.